Hello, everybody, and welcome to Problem Solve Her, an innovative, fun, creative podcast for women to express their stories and their experiences and give insight, solve problems, hence Problem Solve Her, and men, because today we have my brother Dylan, aka DG, on again. Popular demand. Dylan's back on. Woo! And Daggy's
Yeah,
here. I'm Chloe, by the way. And Dagmar gonna just kind of be, maxing and relaxing and deciding when she wants to chime in. What we're gonna discuss today is a big topic worldwide, and in some cultures, really not even spoken about or dealt with. But us Americans are very loud and we always say how we feel and what's on our minds. So Dylan and I are going to give our own opinions and insights and advice and how to solve problems when it comes to having a really healthy relationship as siblings.
We would like to take this moment to thank our sponsors. Bronzea is a mobile spray tanner which can be done in the comfort of your own home. Founded by Gina, an experienced beauty professional with a cosmetology license of over 9 years. Bronzea was birthed by name and cross-pollinated from Bronze and Dea, meaning goddess in Italian. Gina really missed giving women that inner confidence and glow one spray at a time. So, are you ready to unlock your inner Bronzea and allow Gina to make you feel fabulous before meeting a family affair, maybe a night out with your significant others, or maybe it's ladies' night? So, please go to Bronzea Spray Tans at Instagram and use promo code ProblemSolvHer, no E on solve, for the month of September.
And I'm sure there are people listening right now that might be maybe in a feud with a sibling, or maybe they haven't spoken to them in a long time. And if we can be able to kind of bridge that gap by just listening to this, we'll feel really great about it. So, hey, D, you're back on, buddy. Welcome to Problem Solve Her again.
oh my God, thank you. It's great to be here back in the studio in Los Angeles. I'm always grateful to be here. Thank you for flying me out. And
Yeah, buddy, this is our fancy studio. We have an engineer now, a producer. We have someone who is a booking agent. We're very busy over here on these parts. Thank you for
yeah,
joining us.
thank you for having me.
So, Dill, I want to start with, and I think it's people have always been fascinated with the fact that we grew up in Jamaica. Actually, someone wrote me after already listened to the podcast this morning and said, I want to hear Dylan's patois because I had said in the last one that you speak the Bush patois, Kingston this way. And they were kind of interested. And I said, we have to be in the flow, but he'll do it. He'll do it.
Who wants to do that? Who wants to hear that?
I
You
can't
can,
say. There are just
of
people.
course.
A few people wrote me. I'm one
Okay,
here, you know. I'm one
okay, you
here,
can
you.
tell. You know, by the way, number one, I can do that. I'd be happy to do that. But we should do a podcast like straight up on our growing up in Jamaica.
Well, we are. We're going to touch on some of that right now because I think part of our having a healthy relationship and getting to a good place where we are now, because all siblings go through it, started growing up together in Jamaica because you, even though you're my younger brother and I pretend you're my older brother, you taught me a lot in Jamaica because you became friends with everyone. You immersed yourself in the culture. Dagmar, Dylan would go out in the middle of the night and take the quad out. You know what a quad is? Those three-wheeler kind of. You don't know what a
No,
quad
it
is?
wasn't.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a quad. It was a dirt
What?
bike. It was a dirt bike. It was a
Okay,
dirt.
okay, sorry, it was a dirt
Did
bike.
have I did have a quad back home and a three wheeler, but in Jamaica that was a dirt. It was street legal with lights and a license plate and turning signal and a speedometer and everything. A street legal dirt bike. It's like an off road motorcycle.
And he would take it out in the middle of the night and he would go down to this little area known as Draper's. And there were a couple shops down there, a few what we say road bars and just like rum drink up bars. And he would play dominoes with these guys till like 5 in the morning at like 15. And so he would come home and I'm like, wow, his patois is so much better than mine because he's hanging out with these guys at night. He would go on the road. He would do all kinds of things. Dylan literally was like the mayor of our town. He didn't go, after a while. Dylan hadn't been to Jamaica for a while, and I would be in town, and people would come up to me and they'd be like, this is what a Jamaican man does when he wants to get a woman's attention. Empress, Dylan, sister, Dylan.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
would treat
Dylan
me like,
sister.
I'm like, oh my God. Do you remember what that was like?
Oh, I totally remember what that was like. And by the way, all those sneak outs at night you were talking about, usually those were on foot. The younger years,
Right.
they were usually on foot, or, I'd get someone to pick me up or call a taxi. But a lot of those, when I went to the local little areas like Drapers, that was a neighborhood in our backyard at 13, 14, 15, 16. Those were on foot. I'd walk down the hill on foot usually, and I'd walk up the hill
It's a
about
big
20
hill
degrees,
too, Dagmar. A big,
sweating my
very steep.
focus off, drunk and stoned on the way back. But you're right, I did have a dirt bike that I used as that was my vehicle. It was an enduro dirt bike, like I
That
said,
was
with the
his
lights
vehicle.
and the speedometer. I had this like cool helmet and goggles and all this shit. And that was like my motorcycle. I drove it all over the place, all over the country, all around the rivers, all up in the mountains, all to different towns, hanging out, you know, drinking soup, cooking big pots of soup and porridge, and smoking spliffs and drinking Guinness and rum and rapping with these guys and learn the culture and hitting on girls and learning all their things and going to the dance parties. I mean, I was fully, fully, fully immersed in it, and we
It's a
should
script
should
right
do it.
there. Yeah.
The
We should
wild
do it. We
child.
should do a whole podcast on that because
He was a wild child.
I like to tell
He's not
stories.
anymore. Those days are over.
Yeah, and I like to tell those stories, like give little tidbits here and there. And it's kind of weird that it's like it feels like another lifetime ago. But I mean, for the first 25 years of my life, that was like so much of my life. And I could probably write movies and books and all kinds of stuff. So I could really get into that. But yeah. But how does that relate to because today we're gonna be talking
Today
about
we're going to be talking about what it means. Well, it does tie in, and I'll tell you right now what it
yeah,
means to have a successful relationship with a sibling. And part of our relationship, because remember, it's the past, the present, and then the future. But we live in the now, of course. But the past is important in this sense because it shaped a lot of who we became. Because people say, I don't understand what in Jamaica. What are you doing in Jamaica? What are you doing in Jamaica?
right.
And I have to, and then I give the short version of how mom and dad met there in the 70s. Dad was hitchhiking. His hair was long like mine. Mom picked him up with their friends on spring break between Lucy and the Grill. And like, that's the story. So it's important because,
They were also like, freedom and like free love and like
yeah, total
dodging the
hippies.
draft and against the war, and they were like,
Yeah.
all about love and peace, like for real.
Yeah. They were the true
Hippies,
epitome
19,
of free love and
1970.
hippies. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that I have a lot of memories of you and I as siblings growing up in that house, and we would bring different friends. And something that stands out that's really funny is Dagmar, Dylan and I, like he would have three guys down. I'd have like one or two girlfriends, and we'd all play jokes on each other while everybody was staying at the house. So, like, for instance, the guys would go out till like 3 in the morning, and I would put saran wrap on the toilet bowl. So when they went to take a piss, when they came back drunk, it would like fly over the place because the saran wrap was on there. Dylan would take, while I was in the shower, they would take baking soda or baby powder and they dump it on my head while I was taking a shower. I mean, we
Yeah,
would play all.
one time, I remember, yeah, and I remember one time Jeff and I, we hung with dental floss. We hung your toothbrush in the shower, and
Left a
we
note.
your toothbrush left a note of why I committed suicide because it couldn't take the heat in your breath anymore.
No,
Or
you said
something.
you guys said something like, we cannot withstand the heat any longer. Sincerely yours, Senor Colgate, because Colgate was the
Exactly.
brand.
Well, that's actually a good point you make with regards to sibling relationships and for any relationships, as far as I'm concerned, is having fun, being playful, laughing and cracking up and goofing around and fucking around in a playful way. I think is the best remedy, is the best recipe for sibling relationships and for any relationship, probably marital relationship and familial and anything, is having fun like that. So in a perfect world, I would say that that's definitely, it's a good point you make. That's like the top thing. Having fun together is the
Absolutely.
best. So we had a lot of fun. We definitely had a lot of fun.
I mean, Dagmar, we would like pee in our pants. I would have to hold it in and I'd run to the bathroom. And so we'd laugh so hard, I'd have a little tinkle in my pants. I gotta go. I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom.
Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. And then we also had a lot of clashes, like, very classic
I
sibling
can see that with you too. Totally.
rivalries, to the point where we're like kick each other or punt, or I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna, you know, losing my temper. I'm gonna smash the window. I hate you. And then there was a lot of that. And the unfortunate part is that so many of those things happen over the years, and at least I can speak for myself, and I think this is kind of probably like a universal thing for people, but I know for me, it's like so many of these incidences, these like, "I'll never talk to you again. These things happen, and then they're compounded, and there's so many, and then you're like, "You know what? Pff, I don't even like my sister anymore, like, fuck her. I can't even talk to her." I mean, it goes to like the totally like
Who would
other
ever say that about me? I'm too fabulous. I mean, come on,
it
let's
goes to
get
other
real.
goes the other extreme, where it's just like very polarized and there's these compounded levels and you don't even remember the reason. You might remember a couple of things that happened, but it's like all built in together into one pile of,
Poop.
soup of unfortunate interactions that have occurred. And then you forget about underneath the how much you guys actually love each other and how close we are and were and all of that thing. I mean, right? I mean, in
Yeah.
our relationship. So yeah, but there was also, we had a lot of space as we grew up as adults. We had a lot of space both geographically and in our connection, which I think was necessary for whatever we were navigating through, to help just give some space and breather and maybe heal some things and learn more about ourselves and things like that. So I think that, again, another part of the recipe. I mean, life's short. You don't want to have space forever, but sometimes space, I think, can really be a key thing. And then if you're conscious and intentional about your relationship with your sibling, sometimes you could take like little mini spaces. Like, hey, you know what? I need some space from you today. Like, I'll talk to you tomorrow, or like over the weekend. Like I'll talk to you next week, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'd like
space is definitely a good
right.
thing. And I mean, do you want me to get into stuff? Because I have
Well,
a
I'd
bunch of
like
things
to
on my mind.
respond to that. I'd like to respond to that because I think it's good. And this is part of what we're doing the podcast for is that siblings, some people that are related to each other, they don't like conflict. They don't want to even talk about this stuff because they're worried they're going to offend the other person. The other person's going to react negatively. And I think it's great that you're being completely authentic and honest. And I'd like to respond in saying that, if this was at a different time in this conversation, maybe neither of us would have been able to even have it because, like you said, there's all this buildup. It's what our Uncle Dino used to say. He was an incredible life coach. We're never upset about the reasons we think we are because it's all these other things, like you said, compounded and resentment over the years and all these things. But we do only have one life to live, and I can't live in the past. And there were times, yeah, you say things in the moment because you're so angry and it's your siblings. You could say it to them and it's going to really upset them in that moment, which is not nice for anybody, but it's out of fear or it's out of anger or something else is going on. And I agree. I think we've had our ups and downs. It's like a roller coaster is a great example. The roller coaster starts really nice and you're excited, and then you get up that loop and you're like, your stomach drops, you go back down around, and it's
Right.
exciting again. I think we have taken spaces. Sometimes they've been long ones, maybe it's like a month or so. We don't even speak, or sometimes it's just on text or write an email because if we actually physically speak or see each other in person, it might be too heated. But I am happy to say that I like the place that we're in now, especially because you're closer to me. Because over the last, 7, 8 years, I didn't see you as much as I did growing up. So I think that that's helped our relationship because when you are physically in person with someone and you have that connection, organically, not just on the phone or on a video call, then you can kind of really get to that deeper place. And I'm happy for that. But, you know, we can always work on it and we can always get better.
Totally. Yeah.
Would love to hear because I can so relate to what you said about the siblings. I had it with my middle sister, not with my youngest one, but with my middle sister. We loved each other and we could fight with each other. Who was the golden child for your mom and for your dad? Because I'm sure that influenced too if your relationship was
All right,
heated.
so it's very well known. Let's just call it like it is, because some families don't say that. I'm dad's golden child and Dylan is mom's. My mom, no matter what Dylan does or anything else, it's Dylan over everybody. And we used to have a running joke in Jamaica. My dad would go, "All right, here's the list, just so you know. It goes Dylan, it goes all the dogs in this house, everyone that works in this house currently, and then Dylan and you. That's mom's list." And he would joke around, but it was like kind of serious. And like, because my dad and I are so similar, so I'm kind of, but I wouldn't say there was a golden child. It would just be more like, and Dylan's everything for my mom, and I'm mostly everything for my dad, but some for Dylan too. But it's, my mom, it's her baby. So I don't know. Would you say golden child, Dylan? Like, how would you describe?
I don't agree. I don't agree. I have a different perception.
Well, that's my perception.
Yeah, I have a different perception, and I think that again, this is just my hypothesis and my perception from the lens that I've experienced. I think this is actually, and I have a theory because Chloe was so of me, like a big sister,
Especially in
and
school. Don't
yeah,
come
like
near my
if
brother.
somebody messed with me in school, like she'll like beat a guy up, like whatever.
All
Like
right,
Chloe's really,
don't exaggerate.
I'm saying she'll like fuck somebody out. Like Chloe's very protective, like in small and
And
big
Dylan
ways.
is of me because he'll tell you the story at the pizza place after. Go ahead.
Right, I did. Yeah, I did knock somebody out because she called her filthy. But Chloe was always very overprotective of me. But I noticed when we were younger, Chloe was getting a lot of like anger and resentment towards me, and I thought growing up that it was because that I was like the golden child,
I
as
never
they
felt
call it.
like
And
that.
I thought, okay, and I thought that, okay, I thought
No, you
something like
did
that.
you did get away with a lot of stuff because like they say, the first child tough on, the second or third child it's like, "Okay, we've already done this so they can get away." He did get away with more than I did, but then again, I didn't get in much trouble like he did. I wasn't in trouble like that.
Dylan,
But
I
no,
want to hear
Dylan,
your
you're
story.
incorrect.
Yeah, Dagmar, I was the golden child. I was, but
Maybe
that's
he
kind of a
was. See,
that was
I'm
kind
not
of
even
um.
yeah.
Well, I was because in my father's family lineage, it was like the first son, the first boy. Plus, my father's father left his family and everything.
Our grandfather.
Yeah, so he fell out of love with my dad's mother and fell in love with another woman who he was crazy in love with for the rest of his life. And he adopted her and her family and he abandoned my father. So my father did this like reverse father thing with me, like, oh, promise me, son, we'll be best friends forever, So and then my mom loved me, not like Chloe was in love, but if you're asking who was a gold, I think I was a golden child. And I think that to answer your question honestly, that's my personal view,
Okay, I never even saw it like that.
and
I
I
just
think
saw it
that it's a
was
good question because it definitely affects things,
right.
in formative years and stuff like that.
But I never thought of it like that. I just saw it as Dylan got away with a lot of things and I didn't, but I also, did better in school and I was like more focused in the younger years. Dylan, listen, and God bless him, he ran around and did a lot of stuff, and that's for another episode. I mean, he went to Vegas and he won almost $100,000 and was down to his last $5. Going back to the healthy part of it is, and it's interesting because I don't know what role our parents actually played in our relationship as we were older. Of course, when you're younger, they want to kind of, I don't want to use the word control, but kind of make sure and facilitate everyone's getting along. We want everyone to love each other. Don't fight, don't fight. But I think that as you get older and you evolve as a person, we've worked on our relationship on our own. Yes, of course, they'll always be like, please get along. We want you guys. Have you spoken? What's going on? And it hurts them if we're not getting along because we're their children. But I think that Dylan and I together are navigating a healthy sibling relationship today as adults in their
Absolutely.
40s through communication and what our boundaries are. And we communicate differently. But I think we're in a pretty good place right now. I can say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good place. And I'm grateful for that. And I also believe that um, we could get into even better places. And there's like different levels of great places. And I think we can even go into better levels of great places. And I'm hopeful for that. Um, and I really just want to say, in the spirit of the subject of the podcast, that I believe the key to a successful and a harmonious sibling relationship are really the same to like across the board to any relationship. And that is being able to step out of yourself and when you can, step out of the reactive tendencies, and when things get stirred up, to come from a place of compassion and sincere, like curiosity and a desire to understand whatever the other person, in this case, your sibling, is experiencing. Like if they're having an explosive blow up or they're being really nasty to behaviors that are disenchanting and triggering you and things like that, it's like to kind of step back and say, oh, wow, like I wonder what's really going on for her or for him. You know what I mean? Like a genuine curiosity and come from a place of compassion and the want to understand what's going on for that person. Maybe they're yelling at me and they're pissed off and they're screaming at me and it has nothing to do with me, has absolutely nothing to do with me, and it has to do with something that happened with their boyfriend or their job or something they're getting triggered about, that has nothing to do with you, or it has something it's related to you but it could be from the past or all these different things, like trying to understand a person's psychology and what they're going through, because usually when people are behaving, I've done that with Chloe and I've done that with my dad and my parents and my friends, when people are like clawing at me like a wrangling cat, sometimes I react. I used to be much more reactive. And lose my temper, then it's just but I
Bull in a
really,
china shop.
yeah, I really think that having compassion and a desire and a real sincere curiosity and want to understand what it is the person's going through and what it is that they need. I think that's a really big key in successful relationships, period, especially sibling relationships.
We would like to take this moment and break in the episode to thank our sponsors. Robin Lord Law is New Jersey's premier criminal defense attorney for over 2 decades. Robin believes in justice for all and an aggressive legal approach in the courtroom, defending her clients with facts and passion. With an extremely high success rate, Robin has caught a lot of attention in the media with her bold approach in the courtroom and fabulous style. For more information, please contact Robin directly at robinlordlaw.com.
Yeah, it sounds like that you referred to. I'm familiar with that too, what you're saying. It's like you look at it from an eagle eye perspective, from down to the situation, you take your own ego out and you look at it from a very neutral perspective. And also in combination with regulating your nervous system, that you're not fighting, freezing, fleeing, but you make conscious decisions. How do you want to act and what's your next step? And I love that you said curiosity.
Curiosity.
Louis Howe's wife, Martha, they have a lot of relationship talks. And he always points out that he loves when he does something funny. Like one time they went to Carnival and she asked him to stay there and wait for her to get the family because they had a place reserved to play a game. And then she came back with the whole 15 people and the place was gone. Like he left the game area and ate an ice cream. And she, instead of getting upset and screaming at him, she said, "What made you eating an ice cream?" And he said, "I was in the mood to. I was tired of waiting." And she did not get upset. So she just accepted that this is how he dealt with it. And I think you said that beautifully.
Yeah,
And also to do for all relationships, above the sibling, above with your parents, with your partner,
right.
with your
Yeah.
friends. And I'm pretty sure so far what I had the pleasure to get to know you, commercial real estate, that you did the same in commercial real estate.
You also have
I
to,
implement.
but you also have to want, I think, specifically in a sibling relationship, you have to want, it's like in a personal relationship with your husband or your wife or whoever, you have to want to work at it. So if one person or neither people are making an effort, then how are you going to have a very healthy sibling relationship? Some siblings grow up. One Dylan went to boarding school for a little while, where
Sure, sure.
go to different places and they live in different countries, or they have nothing in common and they only see each other a few times a year at family parties or at Christmas or whatever. And that
Right.
makes me a little sad because I think that if you want it, you should really work on it. And we should be blessed to have siblings, because some people are only children and they've always wanted a sibling and they never got one and they, grew up on their own. So you have to really make the effort, the conscious effort to work on the relationship. And Dylan's right. Humor is a massive part of it. Like sometimes when he knows I'm a little uptight, and like he'll make a joke or he'll come over and be like, "Come on, buddy," and he'll like grab me or do something. And I'll be like, "Okay, fine." And I'll kind of just like forget it in that moment. But humor is such a huge part of the relationship. You have to laugh with your siblings. I mean, I can think of stuff where I cried, like I couldn't even, my face hurt for like days just because stuff we did growing up or even recently. Dylan's fingers up. Yes, son, you're up.
All right. I have two things I want to say. Actually, three that I want to mention. Well, by the way, if I do that, like if you're having an emotional response and then I come and try to, like
You come with
change
humor.
you. No, but I don't think if I do that, I don't want to be doing that because I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a healthy thing because it's kind of like gaslighting somebody.
It depends
It's
on how you're doing it. If it's a put down or if it's just to kind of divert to kind of bring the temperature down, then that's fine.
Yeah, but if somebody's having a feeling, like a strong feeling, I don't think that that's helpful or supportive, and I think it's it's indirectly um, like hurtful and almost abusive to not acknowledge somebody and to try to deflect or like talk them out of it, like a feeling. So, just based on principle, the example you gave, I don't support that, and I may even do that sometimes, but from my principles, I don't think that that's a very healthy thing to do. I think it's good to acknowledge people and validate people's feelings because that's a lot of why people are mad a lot of times because they have a feeling and they're not really allowed to have it, express it, and metabolize it and get it out, and then it's gone. So they could be angry or sad or upset about something. So I just wanted to mention that as principle.
Okay,
And
thank you.
yeah. And also two things, what you were saying, Dagmar, about acceptance. I think that's a really key thing is to learning, and it's not easy to accept others for who they are. And it may be really difficult and go against things. And, it could be, I mean, I can give extreme examples, where people are just like behaving. There are certain things that you're like, no, that's unacceptable. And it's completely it's just crazy and ludicrous. And yeah, you can set boundaries for yourself, but on one level, there has to be a level of accepting, like, hey, that's the way this person is. I'm different, and we all have our unique signature and uniqueness about our lives and our beingness and who we are. So to try to work on accepting people and accepting what it is and what they are, while still taking care of yourself and having boundaries, but accepting people, I think. And that's a tough one. And anyone will tell you that your family, your family always, and anyone who has siblings and fortunately parents who are still alive, that your family triggers you more than anyone. Like the drop of a hat, as they say, just like so easily. So there are even entire schools of thought, as a matter of fact, depends on how deep you want to get into it, but it's multi-layered. There are books and professionals, even some doctors, like this guy, Dr. Brian Weiss, who was the head of psychiatry for Miami University Hospital. It was the University Hospital, Dr. Brian Weiss. He wrote like 8 books on past life regression, and he didn't believe in any of that. He thought it was hocus pocus. He was a medical scientific doctor. He was the head of it, and you can read his book. But he'll tell you that, and a lot of other people, there's been many books on this, that we all have soul. This is a whole other level, but for whoever believes this kind of stuff, and I believe in this. I believe in this, that we pick and choose, who our parents, we switch, and our siblings, and who it's going to be. And it's like, we signed up for this thing, and now we got to like navigate. We have to navigate through it. Like there's no coincidence and stuff like that. So I guess what I'm saying is that there's a blessing through all of the stuff, and it's all happening for a reason by some greater design. So I
You're
wouldn't
saying
be
you
for you.
chose me to be your sibling. It was the best decision in a previous life you ever made.
Yeah, well, they say
Now
you
it's the
learn, like you
opposite what
learn.
he's
No, I'm
saying.
saying you learn a lot of
Yes.
lessons. Like you learn a lot of lessons. You learn a lot of lessons. It's constant learning and evolving. Your soul's evolving, and who's going to get you more figured and riled up than your siblings?
But it's also trial and error as in any relationship, right? You know what annoys me. I know what annoys you. There are certain things that are going to trigger each other. Like yesterday, sorry, today's on Saturday when mom and I were watching the semifinals of the tennis, one of my favorite players, and Dylan kept playing something in the background, and I asked him to turn it down. And then he kind of ignored me. I was like, whatever. Then my mom asked him. Then I asked him again, but I never freaked out. Maybe in the past, I'd be like, Dylan, all right, come on. And no, buddy, no, balone. Call mom. Get Barb on the Y. Get Barb in there. Go get her. He finally just like was like, cool, whatever, and went in the other room. Now, if we were younger, our younger selves, or maybe at a different time, depending on, if one of us is tired or whatever's going on, that could have escalated. But I think that everyone should just really read the room and respect. And Dylan's really big on boundaries. So I think that boundaries important for all relationships and siblings too,
Yeah,
because we're very close. And sometimes there are things he'll ask me, I'm just not in the mood to talk about. And then he'll call me back and ask me again. And I'll say, buddy, not now, or vice versa. And you kind of just like, okay. And then you pull back.
yeah. I think forgiveness is another golden key. Forgiveness is another key recipe
Absolutely.
for siblings. And I think that being affectionate in whatever ways, verbally or a hug, just being loving goes a really long way. I think being
Absolutely.
loving, expressing love in very simple ways, like a comment, or, you look nice, or that was a really nice meal you made tonight, or
A nice
good job
gesture.
with that.
Yeah.
Or yeah, or it's, oh, we're hanging out at the pool, we're having a laugh. Oh, it's so good to be hanging out here. I love you. So, things like that, little simple things are, I think, go a really long way, to reaffirm
Yeah,
your
words
love.
of affirmation for siblings,
Yeah,
absolutely.
words of affirmation. Words of affirmation, I think, are great.
I would like to come back to the past life regression. I worked with psychic Ansley McLeod, and he speaks about the soul types and the soul family.
Yeah.
And I think what's so important, no matter if you believe in past lives or not, and what you talked about, Dylan, if you accept somebody that they are different than you are, right? Because from the past life perspective, you could be born as a rescuer, right? So if you have one is a leader and the other is a rescuer, and the rescuer tries ongoing to rescue the leader, and the leader doesn't want to be rescued, have the awareness, like for you two, how did you handle it? Is there something on Chloe where you really have a hard time? And Chloe, is there something on Dylan where you really have a hard time with? That's so away from who you are and it triggers you sometimes. How do you deal with it?
Are you asking me like what that thing is, or are you asking me how I deal with it?
Both. I want both.
Well, for me, it would be when Chloe and I get into a disagreement, and I feel like she'll get so focused on the particular argument at hand that she's, I guess, what I would call like being so reactive that I'm asking her to be like self-reflective, and she may not be as self-reflective as I would hope for her to be, but instead she's like spiraling in the thing that we're talking about.
Okay. How do you deal with it? Like what do you do
Oh,
in these moments?
well, okay. Yeah. So that's the second part of the question. So what I'll do is I will invite her. I will invite her to look at something. I'll literally invite her. I might even use the word. I'm inviting you to look at this, or would you consider this? I try in a polite, like non dis I give my best effort in the moment at where I'm at to be like inviting and suggestive to being open to looking at something.
Interesting perspective.
Yeah. And
Well, everyone has their perspective, right? I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I see like slightly different, but my thing is the same as yours. You know, when we get into the dialogue and just trying to have better, communication on when the issue comes up and how we deal with it. I'm a little different than you. I kind of retreat a little bit because I don't want to, I can be reactive. So sometimes I'd rather just step away and just leave it where Dylan wants to deal with it. Although I do believe in hashing things out and not having long-term resentment with anyone. I like to like hit the nail on the head with certain things and move on from it immediately. Otherwise you start to hold it and then you can become passive aggressive in the future and all these other things come up. But my thing more or less is that Dylan sometimes would like to discuss something and he'll be a little pushy with me and I maybe just don't want to do it. But I think we're both getting better and I do like what he's saying about being loving and just giving a hug or like when he listened back to Dagmar to our podcast that we did with him the other day, he said, in that moment, I totally forgot you said all those amazing things about me, about how proud you were of me and all that. It's like, I am. And it's
yeah, that
nice that
felt
he
really nice.
recognized that.
My heart That makes my heart glow.
Yeah, I love you. Dylan, I gave you a shout out in the last one and said, my handsome brother is single. I mean, come on. Can't get better than
Wow.
that.
Thanks. Let me know if you get any hits on that.
Well, the podcast just
I
went live.
created shorts about it.
Yeah.
What?
Woo! We'll
You
let you
think
know. We just
what?
went live. Ladies,
What'd you say, Dagmar?
I created a shorts about it.
the little
Cool.
Yeah.
shorts, you'll see them. Yeah.
I
Awesome.
shared I shared all your wisdom. I put a lot of effort in with Hugo. And I really because you have the beautiful way of expressing yourself in a very bold, straightforward, and loving way. So I made sure that the shorts reflect that in the title, and one title has it. Yeah.
Thanks for doing that, by the way, all
Shout
the
it
production.
out. Ladies,
Thanks
I
for
have to
thanks for
approve
mentioning.
though. Sister approval.
Yes.
Speaking of having a good relationship with your siblings, I need to pick my sister-in-law. I have to make sure she's on par with me because
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Dylan,
because it
actually,
really,
that's something interesting to bring up.
because it's really all about you.
Right. No, if it's really all about whether or not I get along with her or not. I can't have a sister-in-law that's
No, it's not
dreary.
actually. It's whether I get along with her or not.
Dylan, tell Dagmar what it was like.
But wait, I want to say one other thing. Hold on,
Yeah.
I want to say one other thing. Maybe I'm being redundant. I just want to feel like I made, because I think it's a good question you asked. Again, I will, in those moments, I will attempt to bring awareness to what I see that I feel can be helpful and beneficial for both of us. I will attempt to bring awareness. So, you know what I mean? So instead of
I agree
saying
with
like,
that.
yeah, like instead of saying like, no, but you said this and that, and you get caught up in the tit for tat and the back and forth, I will try to like bring awareness to like, hey, are you aware that, try to attempt to bring awareness to the like whole picture of things and verbalize that, in a way that's constructive and not destructive, you know? Yeah.
We attempt to. We all do, but sometimes unfortunately it doesn't unfold like that. And
Listen,
all we can
I'm glad.
do is just try to get better. But you got to move back a little. You're too close. You're going to be cut off.
Yeah, I'm glad that we, like I said, there's different levels of closeness, and we could keep going on different levels and make breakthroughs and breakthroughs. We could do all kinds of fun things together. We could be like best friends, hanging out more, doing more, and business or all kinds of stuff. Like there's different levels, and I look forward and I'm open to that. But I'm grateful to be, like you said, we have a pretty good sibling relationship, and I'm grateful for that because there were times in the past for years where I thought you were a complete nightmare, and I didn't think we could ever get along ever again for the rest of our entire life.
Ditto, baby. Ditto. I was
So
like,
I'm
who is
great.
this motherfucker? Because
Yeah.
I
So I'm
don't
great.
know
No. So
him.
I'm grateful. Wow.
So
Yeah.
kudos to that because it was likewise, my friend. But I think that
No, I'm your brother. I'm your brother. Not
I
your
know
friend.
you're my older brother. So I think it's important for anyone listening that is like, wow, these guys can like joke with each other, make fun of each other. They can like tell each other how they really feel. I hope that all siblings can get to that place that are listening now to really try and put your best foot forward and to get to a place where you feel really good with your sibling and you're comfortable and there's mutual respect and there's love. Because I have plenty of people in my life right now that I'm thinking of, but I can't say in the podcast, that I know don't have good relationships with their siblings. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, it's about business or it's about jealousy or they're just totally different. They're completely clashers and they're polar opposites.
No. There. Listen. You're right. I mean, the more we talk about it, I'm more grateful because as much as I thought that you can be a handful at times, and I'm sure that I can as
Here's
well.
my hand and it's full.
There are people, and I'm not talking like very rare isolated incidences. It's very common that there are siblings that have gone through horrific, horrific things. Like I know a girl that I used to date whose sister banged her husband,
Oh,
and like
but you
that's
can't
why.
say the word bang. You have to be politically correct. Had an affair with.
Okay, had an affair with her
This is not
husband.
1980. No one says bang anymore.
Well, she did, and she did do that, and she banged him and had an affair,
Okay, Dagmar's
and
ears can't handle this.
and oh, I'm sorry, everyone, but you know what I'm saying. Like correct, she had an affair with. And I'm just giving like an extreme, like that's pretty extreme. Her sister
Not that
had an
extreme
affair
today,
with her
unfortunately.
husband, and they broke up. It's like how do you work through that? You know what I mean? And I mean, I bet you if people called in thousands and thousands and millions of stories like that. I mean, horrific, you know, uh, tragic, trifling. I mean, really horrible things. Stole money. That a sibling had a thing where, oh yeah, let me be your money manager. I'm a stockbroker, and they stole two hundred thousand
That
dollars
happens all day long.
from the
Look at all
sibling,
these celebrity kids whose
from the
parents are their
sibling,
managers and steal from them.
or they stole it from her husband and they finagled the thing through businesses. I mean, like really, really challenging things to navigate through. So how do you forgive that? And how do you navigate through that? So there's different levels. So I guess when I think about it, we're pretty blessed. Yeah.
I am blessed. I am blessed. That's an old school reggae song. Dylan, before we end, because there are so many layers, and Dagmar's right, and so are you. The next episode that you and I do together, we should talk about specifically growing up in Jamaica, because people are fascinated. They're always what do you
Yeah.
mean? Oh my God. But give people just a little taste, just a small little.
Mom, I forgot to deal with my little work on thing on the time the time I come up and all. So we have to just close up. Yeah, we have to
You
just
have a
close
touch
up.
road?
No, we have to close it. We have to dial and close up the thing now. So I may
Yeah,
have to
man.
go
Yeah, man. All right. Respect,
certain
respect,
things for
respect.
yeah. All right, all
That's
right.
funny.
Dagmar, did you understand anything we just said?
No,
Good. Goody.
sounds great.
Yeah, it is
I
great.
said we gotta wrap it
We
up
got to wrap it
because
up. Let's get done.
I
Yeah, we got to.
got a schedule and it's always a pleasure to be here. I
Okay.
gotta
I have
go
one last question.
make things happen in my world.
What's
Yeah.
one message you would share with other siblings? Only one message. What would help them to create a better relationship, each of you? One message.
Keep it short and sweet.
Yeah. Just be grateful that you have a brother or a sister.
My message would be put in the work, be loving, be grateful, like Dylan said, that you have a sibling, and be consciously aware of everything going on around them and be their best support system. Because that's a huge thing. You have to support each other.
That's 6 messages, not one.
Well, mine's like, it was like a run on words, you know?
No,
Okay.
be grateful because can you imagine
See here,
like
because I knew this was going to happen. He was going to do a long one. Then he's going to say it's to go.
well, it's like I can't help thinking about it the more
She
we
opened
talk about it.
Pandora's box. Here we go.
Dude, people have a sibling, right?
Yeah.
They get into a fight. We can give all the examples, a fight, an argument, a thing, a grudge, they hold a grudge, they're in a fight, whatever, and the sibling dies. They die, dude, and you never get to work it out, and they're dead. And now you have to deal with that. So it's like, be grateful and, yeah, set your boundaries. Don't be walked all over. Keep things balanced. Keep things in perspective. But life is precious and be grateful. Be grateful that you even have a sibling.
Eh,
I mean,
eh,
that happens. That happens like more
give thanks
often.
to life. Give thanks to
Yeah, that
life.
happens more often than we realize. People have like a thing where they get into a fight. I haven't spoken in a year, or it could be next week, and they get hit by a car. I mean, these things like that happen all the time.
Give thanks and praise and love one
Keep it in
another.
perspective. Keep it in perspective,
Yeah. Give each other hugs and praise. And before we go, I would
and
like to,
give yourself space. Sometimes you need a little space to work it out.
yeah, space is good. Space is excellent. I didn't see you yesterday. I had some space. I'll see you later. Before we go, I would like to tell people where to find us. Daggy,
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our website, YouTube.
ProblemSolvHer.com, now EN Solve. And we have sponsors now, and we're very grateful for them as well. And before we go, love you, DG. Love you,
Love you.
Daggy. Love all the
Love you.
siblings out there. And coaching is available. Dagmar and I have already started. Reach out to us if you want to prosper and you want to monetize your passions. Dagmar is the girl. She's the SEO queen and the analyst and the analyzer and the metric queen. And she tells it like it is. And her German self just goes right in and dives in and does it. That's
Yeah,
if
and
you
if
want
you
to
want
become
to
something.
get results for whatever goal you have, Chloe is the one who can make it happen. so that for 2025, for the last month left, you can reach them.
Not last month, the last
Here.
quarter of the year. And Dylan will shortly be available for his spiritual and wellness coaching and everything that he's doing. But when he's ready, we'll dive into that. So thank you all. God bless and have a wonderful week, because today is Monday. Ciao for
Thank
now,
you.
everybody.
Please note that the views shared by our guests are their own. We invite honest stories and diverse perspectives, but they don't necessarily reflect our opinions or serve as professional advice.